So my name is Vitaly. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Adapty, and today I'm going to talk to you on how to run sales for a subscription app in the right way. How you get the most of the sales period for the Black Friday and other holidays and get the most money. Because I want to talk about quantitative data, not qualitative data, it's going to be based on something. So I'm an engineer, so I took the data, anonymized data based on our user base, from 1 billion subscription revenue that we track every year, from 10,000 applications and 50,000 paywalls made only this year. And I've tried to analyze it. Before analyzing, I think it's really important to talk about the holidays, because if you take Q3, Q4, and Q5, there are many rest days, especially in different countries. But from what we see, there are three the most important ones. This includes Black Friday, Christmas, and New Year. We have deeper information in this QR code, so you can scan it and download the PDF report that me and the team made together, and I've calculated all these metrics. It's also based on data, really nice one, I think so. So you can find a lot more on how to really make some benchmarks and estimation for your subscription app to plan your budgets. The next couple of slides, I will tell some Q&A and answer this on the data that is not represented in this report. So why are holidays, especially these three holidays, are so important? First, the number of first subscription activations is growing really fast. I mean, something around 50% week over week. So what I did is I took the total number of subscriptions activations and first payments for Q4 and Q5, where Q5 is roughly 2 to 3 weeks of New Year, of Q1. And then I just took the number of activations per week and divided it by the total amount of first activations. So we see here that we see a huge spike for Christmas and for the New Year, but not that big spike for the Black Friday. So it means people are willing to buy and pay much more during last 2 to 3 weeks of the year. Then there is a common sense about discounts. I think it's a big marketing trend. Everything is on sale, Black Friday and so on. This is easy. And the big thing, especially if you run a content application, it's a New Year resolution, especially for health and fitness and education, because people give themselves a promise or willing to learn new language, to be fit or something like this. So a lot of marketing and a lot of apps that I see, they use it. So the next couple of things, I will answer myself some questions. No one asked me, unfortunately, except for myself, about these holidays. So before I was analyzing this data, I was thinking about, when you go to the grocery store or to some online services, sometimes you see a picture or you have a feeling that you got some price before Black Friday, but on the Black Friday, you see maybe similar price or sometimes even a higher price. And I decided to check it. Is it really true? And what we find is that the average price for the first payment for a subscription is not going down for the Black Friday, but it's going up roughly by almost 50%. So what does it mean is people sell, like developers sell more annual subscriptions because they are more expensive. But we also checked that the price for normal subscriptions like weekly or monthly or others, they just go up. I wouldn't say Black Friday is not real, but what most people do and what you, I think, should consider is use Black Friday not as a tool to run sales in like discounts, but actually to promote your product better and sell it more expensive. I think this is a good opportunity here. But when you sell something more expensive, the question is really about subscriptions is what's about the LTV? Because first payments are good, but in most cases you do not get 100% ROI on the first payment, so you should care about the LTV. And I was really curious about, is it higher or lower compared to the average week or weeks? And so I did this analysis, and what we can see is that holiday LTV is up to 20% lower compared to the normal week, while the refund rate is going up by 30%. So people do some emotional purchases, especially for New Year, but then refund a lot. And the churn rate is obviously also higher, but not that much. So what you can do about it? Working with the churn rate is hard because you need to improve your app. It's a long-term process. It's not one-time thing that you can do. But Apple has released an API, which, to be honest, I didn't know about, however, I track all WWDC. And what they introduced is this really nice API where you can provide additional information to Apple to make a decision on whether they want to refund to a customer or not. These features used to be only for gaming, because in games you can buy some hard currency and then user can use it and request a refund, and Apple declines such refunds. And so now we have the same thing for subscriptions. I didn't know how effectively it is, but then we implemented this stuff in our product, and I was really, really extremely surprised, because I see that this API can win back up to 70% refunds, especially in some really niche applications like utilities, especially in VPNs, I would say. And you can really boost your revenue by roughly 4 to 5% in absolute points. And we've run one case study with quite a big subscription app. They've just turned on this feature, and it saved them 40% of refunds and almost 100K in revenue for free. So it's a good opportunity for you to implement it, and it's completely for free. So if you have a backend team, they can implement it in like a couple of days. Really nice thing. And the last thing is that, what about the total amount of revenue? Because the LTV can be high, but what about the total volume that you can get from it? And what I did is that I took the average week throughout the year and compared it with the average week for the holiday season and normalized it. So the average week is 100%. And then I compared it. And so we can see that the holiday week could produce up to 3 times more revenue than a normal week. And when I calculated the whole cohort of 2 to 3 weeks of holidays, we can see that it can generate around 11% of the whole annual revenue, which is like around 3 times more. The performance is around 3 times higher than the average week. So that's a lot. And the question is that, how do you absorb this? How do you use all this potential growth? Because if you do nothing, it won't happen. Because during holidays, the auction is really hot. Everyone tries to promote something. So to get such results, you need to scale the ad. Roughly we don't track this data, but from my understanding from my chat with our largest customers, you need to prepare to increase the daily spend by roughly up to 5 times, better 10 times. It's going to be expensive, but it's going to pay off over 1, maybe 2 years. So it's worth it. Then you acquired some customers, probably a lot of customers. The question is, a lot of users, how not to lose all of them, or how to convert them as good as you can. The answer here is that just try to optimize paywalls based on the holiday that you acquire customers for, because it can significantly improve the conversion rate. We have one example here. So this is for Halloween. I don't think it's super important, to be honest, if you run a performance marketing campaign, but still. And if you can make a sense of urgency, if you can make some things like social proof or discounts, or just make it look really good for the holiday you want to sell, it works. So you can boost the conversion rate up to 40% from what we see. And this is done almost for free. So making this kind of paywalls quite easy. And remember, if it's Black Friday, you don't need to lower the price. You probably want to make it higher. And the last thing about web to app, I know everyone talks about it now, but when you go to web to app, the auction, like Meta or Google's auction where you buy your customers, where you buy your users, is completely different. So you compete with different companies, different applications, or even some web-based products, even SaaS products. And web market is much, much bigger than the app market in terms of how many customers you can acquire. So we see more customers switching to web to app, and 7 out of 10 Adapty's largest customers monetize their applications primarily through web to app. This was shocking to me, to be honest. And we have our friends from the Funnel folks who released an ebook about how to launch a web to app yourself, really easy and cheap. I think it's worth checking it. The last slide. So this report is brought to you by us at Adapty. So what we do is we run a revenue management platform for mobile apps with subscriptions. We help developers to quickly integrate subscriptions to any application or web-based application. But we're much more focused on growth. So we have features like LTV predictions, table builder, localizations, real-time analytics, and more. Thank you so much. You can still download our report because I think you have still 3 to 4 weeks to prepare for New Year and Christmas. I think it's definitely worth it. We have a free giveaway. You can win a HomePod today. It's going to be at 5 p.m. So if you have any questions about data, I'm happy to answer. Thank you so much.